Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot and a PMDG 777 beta tester. Welcome back to another flight in the marvelous PMDG Boeing 777-200ER in Flight Simulator 2024. Today we're going to visit one of those smaller destinations once again that you are prone to see in the 200 rather than the larger 777-300 series, and it is going to be Cayenne. You might remember that one from SLH Sim Design. We did fly there in the A330 a little while ago and we had quite a blast, as it is quite an amazing scenery. Well, Air France has shifted their typical aircraft now towards the 777 on that route, so it only feels fitting to fly over there today. Alright, so let's get into our 777 and let's get the fun going. So here we are in the flight deck. It does take a little while to load up
Runway
initially,
awareness,
which is
okay.
quite normal. And
Meters.
I am actually going to show you something in this aircraft that you should be aware of. So in Flight Simulator 2024 there are sometimes some problems with loading the correct data set or the correct aircraft equipment set. So what can you do about it? Well, I just went ahead and gave my aircraft the standard Asobo registration here, and now I can just go into load from another and then just pick whatever I need. For example, down here we've got the Golf Sierra Papa Yankee, load, execute, and here we go. Now that one is loaded, and now if I make some changes, for example this one seems to still have the old standby instruments installed, then these changes are saved to that aircraft. So that's just a workaround here of some of those flights in 2024 thingies that you do happen to come across every now and then, and I really thought it was worth showing you that one here for our flight. Alright, so with that we are pretty much done setting our aircraft type up, so then let's go ahead and start setting our flight up. Now, starting with the basics here, we are first of all going to turn on the ADRU, then we can do the safety inspection. So fuel control switch is cut off, thrust lever is idle, landing gear down, the wipers are off, and we do have the APU on today. 26 degrees outside, so we will most definitely need that to cool our cabin. Apart from that, let's go ahead and load up a couple of the standard displays we need for our safety inspection. So first thing first, recall. Check any of those messages down here, especially the SATCOM and SAT voice lost should vanish latest after our IRS has finished alignment, otherwise our aircraft may be AOG. The oil quantities are checked, and then on the status page the hydraulic quantities are checked, APU oil is checked, and then we can check our oxygen. And that's still looking good as well. Wonderful. Alright, so those are the basics. Then let's go into the EFB and start setting up our flight plan. And we're going to start with a look at our route of flight on the Enroute map. So let's scroll down a bit, and here we are. So that's our general route of flight. Departing Paris into easterly direction, and then we make a 180-degree turn and fly out to the Atlantic Ocean. We are crossing tracks Golf and Hotel today, but hopefully that's not going to be too much of a problem, and it's just for that very short time here. So the worst thing that can happen is that they reroute us south a little bit and then onto the tracks. Well, okay, so then we do have a little ETOPS sector here between Santiago and Lajes, and then over here we enter the real ETOPS area. And as you can see, our 180-minute ETOPS rating barely covers the entirety of the flight until we leave the ETOPS area down here at Cayenne in French Guiana. Looking at the significant weather chart, there is nothing up here, there is nothing down here, and there is nothing down here until we get into the immediate coastal area, where we've got some occasional CBs in the forecast, so overall it's going to be a pretty easy flight. If we go further up, we can check all those weather conditions along our route, and we're starting with the basics here. A couple of SIGMATs in the Madrid FIR and within New York Oceanic. Then Paris Charles de Gaulle has very good weather here with easterly winds, clear skies, and our destination in Cayenne, likewise easterly winds, few clouds, 31 degrees, beautiful weather conditions all over. In terms of our alternate Paramaribo, we also have good weather. However, during the evening we are expecting some thunderstorms from 1800 UTC onwards. But that's Prop 30 tempo, so for the purpose of planning we can actually disregard this. Now, in terms of our ETOPS alternate, Santiago is okay. They do have a Prop 40 tempo thunderstorms, but by the time that would become relevant, we are already going to be within the area of Lajes. As we can see, Lajes Prop 40 tempo gusts, so not all that good. Well, and then Cayenne is absolutely okay. So yeah, Lajes is a bit of a pain point here, so we gotta have a good look at the weather and its development throughout our flight today. But generally the wind is almost down the runway, so shouldn't be too much of a problem. With that in mind, let's go up. If we depart on time, we're going to land 5 minutes late, so we might fly a little bit faster here. We do have sufficient margins to both the maximum takeoff and maximum landing weight. Flight level 360 is planned, then later on 37, 36 again. Yeah, well, in France, it's going to be 360 for us. And then going all the way down into the fuel section of our flight plan. As we can see, 64.7 is the minimum takeoff fuel plus 500 taxi, makes it 65.2. Let's round that one up to 66 tons, so that we indeed have sufficient fuel on board. We do have ETOPS fuel on board, 32 minutes, so we really don't need to carry much more than absolutely needed. Okay, cool. So with that in mind, 65.2, rounded up, 66. I'm actually thinking we don't even need to round that up really, so let's just go with 65.2, and that's absolutely all we need. Alright, cool. So into the weight and balance, import from SimBrief, then let's use the precise loading. So 65 and 200, well, let's make it 65.3, just so that we're sure that the APU is covered. And that's everything we need in here. So that's our initial setup completed. Let's go ahead and go right down into the FMS. So 777-200 GE90 engine, and the nav database is up to date. We can copy paste our GPS position and start the route request down here. Now, this is probably going to take a while. Let's make good use of that time and head right back into the electronic flight bag, where we can search for our departure charts. Now we do have two airport charts over here, a northern one and a southern one. So we are basically looking for that southern one for runway 08 left right. So this one over here, and I'll pin this. And then we need the parking stand over here, which looks like this is Terminal 2. So let's go ahead and find those. So parking stands Terminal 2, and that's this one. Perfect. For our sit then, we've got the Lima Golf Lima 6 Lima departure. So this one. And that looks pretty good, doesn't it? Okay, excellent. So load the route of flight, and then we can go right back to our flight plan up here, as that's what we are going to need next. Wonderful. So Paris to Soka, and our flight number is Air France 890. Then let's select our departure of runway 8 left with the Lima Golf Lima 6 Lima departure. Here it is. And then for our arrival, runway 08 is the planned runway for today, ILS Zulu approach, and we have the Rechem 1 Echo arrival, which is right down here, Rechem 1 Echo. And then let's have a look at the legs page on our colleague's side there. So transition from Takeoff, well actually we don't need that holding, so let's remove that again. And that's fine. Alright, activate, execute, and then let's cross-check. So starting up here we have Lima Golf Lima, Upper November 491 Upalo, Upper November 585 Feijak, direct Regi, direct Etiki, and then we proceed via 47 north 15 degrees west, 46 north 20 degrees west, 42 north 32 degrees west, 37 north 35 degrees west, 31 north 40 degrees west, 27 north 45 degrees west, direct Keton, direct 10 north 50 degrees west, and direct to Rechem for the arrival. So that looks all correct. So let's go ahead and copy that route, and then onto the legs page, route data, and load the winds. In the meantime, let's check our standard instrument departure, but there are no speed restrictions on here, no altitude restrictions either. And in terms of the waypoints, we proceed via Papa Golf 081, Papa Golf 082, 088, Kalot, and then on towards Lima Golf Lima. That looks all correct. So ground distance 4,018 miles, and up here we have 4,022, so that's more than close enough. Alright, Paris into the fix info and 25-mile range ring. We don't need any nav aids on this one. Transition altitude 5,000 versus the chart 5,000, so that's looking very good. And then on the init ref, let's accept the uplink. Now cross-check all the data. So we got alternate 4.8, final 2.7. If we add the 2, it's going to be 7.5 versus 7.4 in here. But if you take the roundings into account over here, then 7.4 is actually good enough. Throttle 360 is correct, cost NX20 is correct, minimum fuel temperature is -44, and the cruise CG will be 30. So, onto the takeoff page, and in here we are going to fly noise abatement procedure number 1 today. So acceleration in 3000, thrust reduction 1500 is okay. So the last thing for us to do now is to cross-check our oceanic points. And from the original route check, we already know that there are no halfway points in there. So it's just going to be an easy copy-paste here. So 4715 is correct. Then we have 4620. Which is also correct. Going on to 4230, which is also correct. And then we've got 3735 is also correct. Then we have 3140 is also correct. So 2145 is also correct, and last but not least we've got the 1050, and since that one is more than 5 digits, PMDG currently has a bug that's not going to take this. Fair enough, we'll just have to work with that bug, and that's fine. Alright, apart from that, our FMS setup is completed, so let's finish this up over here, and then we'll go right into the flight deck inspection. So up here everything's set. Voice recorder on, emergency lights on, seatbelts on. Everything is set down here, and everything is set down here. Moving down then, onto the main panel, we need hectopascals. Everything's set, reset the checklists, and over to the com page, flight information, ATIS request, LFPG. VATSIM and send. Alright, on this side everything is set. Down here everything is set. Auto brake RTO. Then we have 122.8 and 121.5. Like this. Transponder into above, and everything is now set. Wonderful. So, new messages. Bonjour. Paris Artis Delta recorded at 1400. Expect blah 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 arrivals and departures. So, Sid, they say 6 Hotel in here instead of 6 Lima. Let's have a quick look at the difference between the two. So Lima Golf Lima 6 Hotel is pretty much the exact same thing, isn't it? It's literally just the difference based on the airway that we are going to follow. And since we follow the Upper November 4901, we should actually have the 6 Hotel departure. That's fine, let's go with that. Okay, but it's literally the very same procedure, so happy with that. Initial climb flight level 100 and QNH 1020. So set once and set twice. Beautiful. So the rest of those messages here is checked. Then let's go ahead with the briefing. Okay, so we are departing Paris Charles de Gaulle, runway 8 left, Lima Golf Lima 6 hotel departure. Initial climb is going to be 10,000. MSA 3000 keeps us safe in this area, and we have no extra fuel and time, even though we do of course have the ETOPS fuel of half an hour on board. Alright, so no hotspots for our taxi routing, fairly familiar with the airport since it's our home base. And our departure is going to take us straight at slight right-hand turn, hard right-hand turn, 10,000 feet initially, so nothing to worry about over there. For our emergencies, the stop margin is in the range of a couple hundred meters today. Engine out sits straight at 25 miles, pick up the holding in 4,000, that'll keep us safe, and we can come back immediately to runway 8 right. 8 left is available if needed, as it is quite a longer runway. We are 40 tons above the max takeoff weight, so if we decide to return immediately, it's going to be an overweight landing, but that's not going to be an issue on this very long runway. Well, and that's pretty much it. Nothing special or non-standard. Do you have any threats? No? Okay, pre-flight checklist. So, oxygen, tested 100%, flight instruments, heading 261, altimeter 1020, reading 360, set left, set right, pre-flight checklist complete. Good. So with that, we're pretty much ready. Let's go ahead and close up. So the external power is already removed. So vehicles, do they need the chocks to be able to disconnect this? No, I think it's fine. So close all doors, then let's say bonjour to our guests. Bonjour mesdames et messieurs, from the flight deck, this is your captain speaking. My name is Emmanuel, in the name of Air France, welcome aboard flight 890 towards Cayenne. Today's flight time is calculated at 9 hours and 15 minutes. We do expect a mostly smooth flight at an altitude of initially 11, later on 12 kilometers. We'd like to thank you very much for being our guests today. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight with us. We are just closing the doors, finishing up the latest paperwork, and then we will start our pushback. For the time being, sit back, make yourself comfortable, and we will get back to you with the latest weather information when we start our approach to our destination airport. So, cabin crew, all doors in flight. So, everything is done, all the doors are closed, the chocks are removed. Then let's finish up our performance figures here. So we have a zero fuel weight of 170.2, and that gives me a gross weight of 235.5, which is correct. So zero fuel CG is 27, and then let's do our takeoff performance data. So performance tool, de Gaulle, runway 8 left, 4,000 meters seems correct. Copy paste all the data, and that is a takeoff 2 at 42 degrees. Like this, 93.4%, which is correct. Okay, flaps 5 takeoff, and the CG is 28. So 4.75 units of trim matches the FMS. Takeoff speed 149, 151, 155. That's all within 1 knot. So this is all correct. Wonderful. So that's all data entered. Ground from flight deck. Go ahead. So, can we pressurize the hydraulics, please? You're clear to pressurize. So, 10,000 is correct. Then let's pressurize. So, fuel in center does show. Center pumps coming on, 4.75 units at trim, transponder coming on, and before start checklist, please. So, flight deck door, closed and locked. MCP, V2 155, heading 084, altitude 10,000. Takeoff speeds, V1 150, VR 151, V2 155. CDU pre-flight completed, trim 4.75 units, 0 and 0. Taxi and takeoff briefing completed, holding at beacon. Ground flight deck. Bonjour. So, please confirm all doors and hatches are closed, ground equipment is removed, and the bypass pin is installed. That's all confirmed, Capitan. Roger, thank you very much. We are clear to push, runway 08, and the park and brake is set. Release park and brake. So, beacon on, before start checklist complete. Park and brake is released, starting the pushback, and you let us know when we can start the engines, please, in sequence 2, then 1. Roger, sequence 2, then 1, you're clear to start engines. Okay, I'll stop this semi-French accent, that's just not going to turn out well. So, right engine start. And here we go, N2 is increasing, oil pressure increasing. The pushback tool is doing fancy things again. It's too bad that Microsoft doesn't have a proper pushback built in. At some points you just really feel the origins of the simulator as an entertainment, general aviation sim, which is basically how Asobo started developing it. Okay, I think this is just about fine. Stop the pushback over here, please. And we have a good start on the right engine, starting the left engine. Okay, park and brake is set. You're clear to lower the aircraft, remove all equipment, and advise when clear, please. Roger. I'm doing it again. Sorry for my French friends. So, there's our ignition. And the EGT is rising. Okay, 2 good engine starts. Clear to disconnect, shown with the pin on the right hand side, and have a wonderful day. Bye bye. And that's looking like 2 good starts. Beautiful. So, flight control checks. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Rudder. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Before taxi checklist. Anti-ice. Auto, recall, checked, flight controls, checked, ground equipment, clear, before taxi checklist complete. Clear left side, clear right side. Then let's go. So, the brake is released. Alright, cool. A little bit of power to get it to move. I'm still so tempted to do a brake check. But Boeing has a very different design of the brake system than Airbus, so you don't need to do one here. So, clear left side, clear right side, and then first hand turn to the right. So a lot of people are asking me which Paris scenery I'm using, and the answer is quite simple. It's the standard handcrafted one. I'm surprised again and again how good the quality of the handcrafted sceneries actually is in FS 2024. It's really not comparable with 2020. Things are looking a lot better in here. This is certainly on the level of a low-level payware scenery from, you know, prepared and time like that. Actually, even a medium level payware scenery. Have to give him that. So, all the way up to 30 knots, then we can go back to idle. And well, here we go. So let's review our takeoff briefing. It's a left seat takeoff of runway 08 left, flaps 5, noise abatement procedure 2. Takeoff speeds 150, 151, 155. And the SID is a right-hand turn, initial climb 10,000, respectively flight level 100. In case of emergencies, we proceed straight out to 25 miles, holding in 4,000 feet with the MSA at 3,000 and a bit, and if an immediate return is necessary, 08 right would be the standard arrival runway, but we can request 08 left as well, which is a little bit longer at 4 kilometers in total. Apart from that, I have no specials, nothing non-standard, and I can't think of any threats as well. One of the good things here in Paris, even though the weather is absolutely wonderful today, is that they have so much Class Alpha airspace that we just absolutely don't need to worry about VFR traffic. So, cabin ready. So, yeah, I suppose we just use weather and terrain like that, but it's not gonna matter too much today. Before takeoff checklist? Before takeoff checklist complete. So that's everything done down here. Now for our taxi, we'll go all the way down here to the last intersection. So that's going to be slightly to the left once we are in that turn over here. And then across the de-icing pads. That's always the part where I have a little bit of problems here in Paris. If you don't fly here too often, it can become quite hard to actually find your way around the airport. So we'll start slowing it down a little bit again, and then we'll turn to the left over here. Alright, 10 knots, left-hand turn. Okay, cool, so everything is clear on the left-hand side. There is nobody on the de-icing pads here anywhere. Well, 26 degrees outside, so it's not expected to see anyone here. But that's especially the time where you gotta be careful when you don't expect someone somewhere. Because if they are there, well, that's not gonna end well. Alright, cool, so second to the left, and then we're at the full length. That's gonna be Uniform Tango 2. Over here. So down to 10 knots. And here we are. Okay, cool. So we're clear on the approach. We're clear on the left. Let's get the armrests down. Cabin crew, prepare for departure. So, Air France 890 AV, runway 808 left, cleared for takeoff. So the checklists are complete already.
Approaching 08 left.
Intentionally. I finally figured out why VRAS didn't work earlier. I had disabled it. So it actually did what it was supposed to do all the time. But here we have it again. Nice and healthy. Okay, so...
On runway 08 left.
Intentional. Are you ready? Takeoff. So, listen to those sounds of the GE90s running up. Thrust set.
80 knots.
Checked.
V1. Rotate. Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. LNAV. VNAV. So let's do a little bit of manual flight here, simply because I enjoy it. Alright, the engines are down in climb thrust, then we don't need that timer anymore. And we're about to reach 3,000 feet above ground. That's where the acceleration is going to start. Here we go. Flaps 1. Speed checked. Flaps 1. Flaps up. Speed checked. Flaps up. Okay, flaps up, no lights. After takeoff checklist. After takeoff checklist complete. Alright, so that was a pretty interesting departure. Not because of any fancy turns or something, but just for the fact of it that we haven't flown a noise abatement procedure 1 in a long, long while. Set standard. Standard cross-check passing flight level 52 now. Checked. Autopilot. I totally love it when you engage the autopilot and you look outside, you see nothing happens. In other words, you've been flying the airplane perfectly. So then, turn right towards Keelot. LNAV available. LNAV. The proportions of the 200ER are just perfect, aren't they? In terms of ladies, someone would probably say 90, 60, 90, but we're not going to go into this one. But it's just an awesome looking airplane, is it? Someone asked me if I could show the engines shaking. Well, there you go, my friend. Beautiful terrain down there as well. France is a beautiful country. Really is. Okay, so let's continue our climb up to flight level 200. And then, here's your chance to see Paris from close up. Alright, reaching 10,000. Lights are off, we'll stand by a little bit for the signs. Now that the nose is below 7. Signs on auto. Alright then, so let's see. I haven't entered any step climbs manually just yet. We'll leave them on automatic for this one. So optimum 362, recommended 340. Well, I'll probably bring it up to 360 anyway. Set 360 tracked. Alright, perfect. So that's pretty much everything we could do here. So for the time being, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight. Alright everyone, and here we are approaching Cayenne. So, I have already completed all the preparation work, so let's just go over the most important figures for our arrival, do the briefing, and then we're already down here. So, starting with the most important thing, that's our approach. That's going to be the ILS Zulu approach into runway 08. Now, the MSAs do vary, but none of them goes above 2,800, so 3,000 all around is going to keep us safe. For the approach itself, we do have the standard arrival coming down here via our RNAV transition. Minimums is 268, which we have pre-selected, and that's pretty much the easy stuff. So the forecast page is in, all the VNAV stuff is in, just 250 knots econ speed here today, and that's going to lead it to a nice on-time arrival. 18:08 is our expected landing time, and the schedule today is 18:15, so we are running exactly on time. I do like that. Now, apart from that, the approach itself starts at the final approach rate 6 miles out, 2,000 feet, 3-degree glide slope, and all of that does agree with our charts as well. Missed approach then straight out to 1500, right direct waypoint 414, and then towards Osisu, maximum 220, climbing to a maximum of 2000. Do not turn before the missed approach point, climb to 1500 prior to level acceleration. And as you can see, that's exactly what we've got in here. So, fairly easy stuff for the time being. Now let's have a look into the expected landing, but prior to that, let's descend to flight level 50. So, for our expected landing, we've got runway 08, and that thing is 3.2 kilometers long. Vacating via Echo, we can quickly look into the performance tool down here to tell us how much runway we will actually need. And as you can see, that's 1900 meters, so vacating Echo should be perfectly possible if we don't overextend our flare. So putting the airplane down on the runway right on time has priority for us today. Getting below 100, our speed is a little bit high here. Let's use some speed brake to get that down. Lights on, signs on. And then we can do the approach briefing, please. So, up to you. Alright, thank you very much. So, we are arriving via the Recce 1 Echo arrival. ILS Zulu approach runway 08, minimums 268, missed approach straight at 1500, right, climbing 2000, and we have no specials. Extra fuel and time, we are landing with 13.5, where our minimum is 7.4, so we saved quite a bit of fuel, and we have an hour extra in the tanks. Thank you, sounds wonderful. So for the arrival, we will use the flight directors guiding down our ILS approach into runway 08. Flaps 30, idle reverse, and auto brakes 3 to vacate the runway to the left-hand side via Alpha, and then straight to the parking stands. I have no specials, nothing non-standard, and that's pretty much it. Any questions? No? Beautiful. So that's the briefing completed. So, some pretty beautiful looks down here. Okay, so descent checklist, please. Recall, checked. Notes, checked. Auto brakes, 3. Landing data, Veer 30, 130, minimum Sparrow 268, set left, set right. Approach briefing completed, descent checklist complete. And then we can descend all the way down to 2,000 feet. Looks like we do need a little bit of speed brake here to keep the airplane on the path. Okay, set QNH. QNH 1010 cross check passing 6,500. Now. Checked. Approach checklist. Altimeters. QNH 1010. Approach checklist complete. And that's about as easy as it gets. So, I can't see our airport just yet. Perhaps that one over there? Not 100% sure though. Otherwise it would have been lovely to conduct a visual approach. But we can't approach what we don't see. The more I'm looking at this, the more I think it's this one. Yeah, it definitely is. Okay, so everything is in sight. Let's go visual, shall we? So direct Fox India. Speed brake out. Speed is coming back. Flaps 1. Speed checked. Flaps 1. And flaps 5. Speed checked. Flaps 5. So let's do like 185 knots here in order to get ourselves down. We're 10 miles out, a little bit high, but we have super effective speed brakes, so that's not going to be a problem at all. Descending 2000. As you can see, we can nicely make those 2000 by the final fix, which is 6 miles from the runway. So that's the point where we would normally configure for gear down flaps 20. So we are basically on a very, very good profile here. I just totally love those approaches where you just fly over endless forests. You have the same in the Caribbean, going into things like Punta Cana or into Cancun. Really, really neat. So, speed brakes going back in. And look at this, perfectly on the spot. Officially this is a visual approach. Unofficially, of course, I'm just using my FMS to cut ourselves short. But this is how you could fly an approach like this in the real world.
$2,500.
Checked. So the glide is coming in from the bottom. There's our runway. And here comes the final turn. Just look at the terrain. It's beautiful here, isn't it? Okay, of course it did not capture. So, gear down, flaps 20. That would have gone better in the real world. In the real world, if you're on VNAV and you approach the glide from above, you will eventually catch it. Come on, plane, you've got to start descending now. Okay, then we gotta do it ourselves. Flaps 30. Flight directors off. Set go around altitude. Landing checklist. Landing checklist complete. And here we go, stable at the 1000 foot gate. Just about, but we're stable.
Approaching 08.
Checked. The hills are looking larger from down here, are they?
500. 300.
So remember, we don't want to flare too much. We'll just put it down onto the ground so that we can vacate without a backtrack.
Approaching minimums.
Checked.
Minimums.
Continue.
$100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
Speed breaks up, thrust goes normal. Okay, lovely. And the second exit is ours. So, that was a pretty good one. Down towards 10. Get the timer running and turn that one off. Well, and with that, welcome to Cayenne. So we have no GSX for our marshalling today. That means we gotta park ourselves. Pretty small airport for a large airplane like this. It already felt small for an A330. The 777 is even a tad larger. So flaps are also going up. And here we go, stamp number 1. Lights off, weather radar is off. Looking good. Alright, you guy down there, why are you standing there doing nothing? Well, here we are. So, park and brake set, APU running. Cabin crew, all doors in park. Okay, so beacon off and shutdown checklist. Park and brake. Set, shutdown checklist complete. So ground up, set the chucks, request the jetway. At an airport like this, I probably... Well, there... I do believe we did see some air conditioning units here, but that is probably just for the jetway itself. So chances are we will not get any ground power or any air conditioning units, so we're going to keep the APU running. Alright, so everything is opening. Quick check, quick post-flight check here. All quantities looking good. The hydraulic quantities are looking good. All the caution messages are looking good. Recall, we didn't miss anything. Wonderful. Well, my friends, and with that, welcome to French Guiana. I hope you found this one interesting. Be sure to leave your feedback in the comments underneath the video, and let me know how you like my choice of destinations. I'm always looking forward to some further suggestions, so if you have some interesting real-life routes like this one, be sure to put them into the comments below. And with all of that out of the way, thank you very much for watching. I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one. Like, comment and subscribe, and if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.